Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week. Well, watched a couple of films. We fell in love.
We sure did.
Yeah. And I gotta say, this first one, I loved it.
Which one?
The first one.
Mission Impossible?
The first Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say one thing is it's interesting to see what young Tom Cruise was like compared to older Tom Cruise.
Yes. This movie is...
It came out in 96, the year I was born. It's as old as I am.
I know, isn't that insane to think about? That this was happening when I was?
Yeah. I took a lot of notes this time around to try to be a good little boy. It's been a while since I've done that, I'm not going to lie.
Great, awesome, because I didn't take any notes for this, but I took notes for Blowout, so that's perfect.
The first one. Okay, so first of all, this is a... You hit me to this, and I have no more information, but Mission Impossible is like a sequel to the show.
Yes.
And that old-ass dude is supposed to be the same character from the show.
John Boyce dumbass? Yeah.
Yeah, right? He's the guy who runs the op?
I believe so. Let me look it up real quick. That's just what I remember, but also...
Yeah. So we begin with an elaborate ruse to get a name out of a guy. They're in a fake room. Tom Cruise has a fake face on.
Love it.
Yeah, crazy, right? Then I wrote down Sega CD because there's a bunch of like computer surveillance video on monitors that just looks like full motion video, like Sega CD type shit.
Yes.
Then Tom Cruise is in old man makeup because they're trying to track down this guy who has the knock list. He's trying to sell it.
Such a cool name for a list.
It is a great name. But you know what I kept thinking the whole time? I kept thinking about that, like, forgot that it was even Tom in there.
I don't know what you're referring to.
I'm referring to, like, when people are like, you can't even tell that's in Bruges instead of all that penguin makeup.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, Tom. You know how good? You know, Tom lost himself in that role. Is all I'm trying to say.
Absolutely, I was wrong. John Voight was not in the Mission Impossible TV show.
He was not, but the character's the same. That's what it is.
Is it? Oh,
yes,
okay.
He's playing the same character from the first one, or the first show, or whatever it is. What's the name of the character? Can you look it up? Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Captain John Wallace.
Wikipedia's garbage. Just show me a cast list. Jim Phelps. Close. Tom Wallace, Jim Phelps. L.A. Noire, Jim Phelps.
Detective Phelps.
Yeah.
Look it up. Jamie, pull that up.
I wish you would stop calling me Jamie.
I'm sorry.
Dude.
Ha.
Great bit for my tight five next time I do stand-up that I have to workshop. Ice baths are healing crystals for Joe Rogan Republicans.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you go.
Cole Phelps.
My I got sucked into some Rogan Sphere stuff lately.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's when you know that's a good sign that you need to log off for a little bit, when you like start clicking on 18-minute long videos about like the most recent episode of Two Bears, One Cave. You know, like
I feel like I've been seeing this a lot lately. Every time we see fucking Bert Kreischer,
he's drinking himself to death.
It's against my will.
Yeah,
I don't
and he's drinking
want to
himself
see
to death.
Good. I'll say live on air right now.
Well, all of his friends are even talking about. They're like, Jesus Christ, that dude needs to stop drinking. He's literally dying in front of our eyes.
Crazy.
But to him, it's like funny. It's just like, bro, I woke up at 10 a.m. started drinking. You know, and everybody's like, Bert,
you have two kids.
Stop. Yeah.
He's one of the big reasons I hate Joe Rogan so much. Joe Rogan just being like, yeah, sure, you're my friend. You can be the world's most famous man for a while. Side
note, even Ron White quit drinking. At a certain point, like, have you not had enough drinks? Like, just, it's time to stop. Once you hit 50, you've had enough drinks. Well, my thing is I'll do it, like, I go to the Schwitz, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, between, like, hitting the sauna and then you want to cool down real fast, you hop in there. But I would never have one personally just because it's, like, the biggest problem is just ice. Like, what am I supposed to do? Go to the gas station every time I want to use it and buy a couple bags of ice to get the water cold enough? What do you do? Like, how do you operate an ice bath?
Good question. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
I just, in my brain went hot tub, but opposite.
Yeah. So I have no interest in operating that. If I were to have something at home, it'd probably be a hot tub.
Mm-hmm. But
that's baller.
I overheard a conversation with the UPS man picking up some stuff.
Yeah.
UPS man be like, yeah, no, and like, I'll take cold showers and stuff like that too. And boss man's like, oh, it's not the same. He goes, oh, I know, because very clearly UPS man is also Rogan Pill.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no, your average cold shower as water that's about 56 degrees, and an ice bath is about 45 to 48. And I was like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's imperceptible, I would say.
Yeah.
And he got Tomas, who's our maintenance guy, to do it because Tomas is having back problems or whatever. And Tomas came out. I heard him talking to his son, and they were speaking Spanish, so I didn't know what they were saying. And Tomas was just going, like, putting his hands up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hell yeah, Tomas. I was like, don't give into it, hell yeah, Tomas. Yeah. And boss man came over. He's like, how you feeling? You feeling better? Tomas goes, no.
Yeah.
He goes, you don't feel any better? He goes, no. He goes, you went in? He goes, yeah. He goes, how long did you go in there for? 3 minutes? He goes, 5. He goes, you were in there for 5 minutes. He goes, yeah. You feel any better? No. You're going to have to try it again. And Tomas goes, yeah. No.
That's good. That's really good. You're familiar with Brendan Schaub or whatever to a degree, I assume? The Gringo Poppy guy?
I know the name.
He was a UFC fighter turned comedian. And he's got some terrible specials.
I hate this man's guts. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. But I get the snark community shit often. Like on Reddit, like I'll get, like, most people who watch it are hate watching.
Yeah. I hate this guy. I'm looking at him right now. God, yeah. I hate him.
Like the Trug Walk thing. You ever heard of that? Trug Walk? There's all this like lingo where they make fun of the way he speaks.
No.
He got caught trying to cheat on his wife, and one of the things was like, "You want to walk to my trug?" And so, like, you know what I mean? So, like, they say that all the time. Like, I was playing Classic WoW, and I found a character named Trugwog, or whatever, and I was like, yo, nice name, B, because he always calls people B.
That's so
And he was like, thanks, you know. But, fucking A. Yeah, I just get recommended that shit all the time. And, but you may not have... The reason why I'm bringing this up is just because I love doing this with you.
Yeah.
I'd like to think it has some value. But any time that I see, like, a podcast that has, like, Chris D'Elia, Tom Segura, Brendan Schaub, like, anybody in, like, that Rogan, like, West Coast, like, they all do, like, 6 podcasts, too.
Yeah.
I'm always just, like, ashamed that I even do this.
Yes, absolutely. Chris, 100%. I listened to the other day, Mark Maron shutting his podcast down after 16 years.
Yeah. And that's fine. 16 years, you've done plenty.
And I respect, even though I don't jive with him 100% of the time, I respect Mark Maron so much. Yeah. Especially listening to him talk about his podcast. Yeah. And how he's just like, we're doing fine. He's like, we don't have a Patreon. We don't do video. We don't do any of that. Yeah. I was listening to him talk to...
I also like Bill Burr.
Yes.
I haven't listened to it in years and years and years and years, but it's just every Monday he talks to himself for an hour.
Yeah.
It's great.
Maron was talking to Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah.
I listened to that one. And most of that is them talking about how much they hate podcasts.
Yeah.
And how that's what comedy is now. Mark Maron said, he goes, yeah, you get 5 guys together and they talk about how the first time they shit their pants as an adult, and that's an hour and a half, and then they're done. Like, it's just...
But I was listening to one, my Uber driver was listening to one in Atlanta. And what I'm trying to say is that, like, I like when the podcast is, like, most podcasts I've ever listened to is, like, one guy usually talking. And it's usually, like, very scripted. Like, I like lore.
Yeah.
30-minute long. The intersection of history and scary shit. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love, I listen to Time Suck a lot. I mean, he's corny and not that funny often, but super endearing, super well. Research is 3 hours long on a topic, and it'll be, a murderer or, maybe like something historical. I don't often like listening to people just sitting around chuckling. And that's, I would agree with the Mark Maron thing where it's like, I don't, like, the last thing in the world I want to listen to is a comedy podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
And sometimes I get the hankering, like, I'll listen to, like, My Brother and Me clip, and I'll get a nice chuckle or something, but, like, when I'm talking just straight up, like, West Coast comedians sitting down and talking.
Oh, yeah.
No, not happening.
I have,
not happening.
Side note, been finding myself really angry and just, not angry, but, like, really, like, anti people in LA. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but every time I see somebody who's very clearly a Los Angelino, I'm like, you're just the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to listen to your podcast. You're just the worst.
No. But the biggest thing is, again, I'm not even trying to be mean, but, like, there's not enough going on in their life, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also, the podcast isn't about something else. Like, I'd like to defend our podcast by saying, like, we're usually either, talking about a movie that not a lot of folks have seen, something like A Bucket of Blood, or, we're going to talk about a new movie or something. At least there's, like, a backbone. We're not just sitting here. Mm-hmm. Right now, sometimes we opine a little bit.
Yes.
But all I'm trying to say is that, like, those fuckers just sit down and be like, this is a line for Starbucks earlier. Like, it's like, oh, my God.
It's
Get on stage, work, put some effort
exactly.
into what you're doing.
It's a stand-up bit that they have done no work on. They're just going to sit, and some people are really good at that, and it's really funny, but also at the same time, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, I will defend my brother and me, because I love those boys.
Yeah.
Theirs is improv. That's the point.
And they're funny.
And they're funny, and they're just jumping off. But, like, it's just the low-effort comedians sitting down in a room once 6 times a day.
Yeah.
To do 6 different podcasts.
Yeah.
I just hate it.
Yeah.
Like, the podcasts I listen to are, like, ones similar to ours, which are about film.
Yeah, very popular. I know my fiance listens to a couple of film podcasts.
Or I'll do heavyweight style stuff.
Yeah. There's another example where I feel like it's like, yes, there are snippets where he talks to people, but it is kind of like one person telling a...
Yes.
It's very structured. They put a lot of effort into it. I don't like low-effort podcasts.
Gotcha. I don't mind a low-effort podcast, but my problem... No, I changed my mind. I like podcasts that have a point that's not two funny people talking.
Yeah. Like Two Bears, One Cave, never going to happen, dude.
Fuck off.
Never gonna
Absolutely.
happen.
Like,
the funniest thing I ever saw is years and years and years and years ago, where as a bit, Tom Segura bought him a Hitler
I was
teacup
gonna say,
or whatever.
The Hitler teacup's maybe one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Super
but also,
funny.
besides that...
But not every episode is that. Most episodes are just...
Yeah. Like,
you know how rich I am?
Or even when it is just a podcast about people in their room talking, it's like, I love Creepcast, but that has, like you were saying, a backbone where they're finding things to discuss. Or, you know how big I am into kind of funny stuff? That's because they do shows.
Yeah.
They do shows other than the podcast, and the podcast is just like another one of 9 shows in the middle of the week. And so I feel like even though that's low effort and just them sitting down in a room, it's like there's like running bits throughout the programming that they do that work into that and yada yada. And it's just, that's the type of, like, you're listening to some friends talk for a bit.
You know what else I found out?
Fine, but also,
do you know Tim Dillon?
Tim Dillon sounds familiar.
He's a larger man. He's got a kind of raspy, almost like sports voice. He's kind of tangential to the Rogan sphere, but he was there for a second and then got really fed up with it.
Oh, yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah. Funny.
Yeah.
Also gay as hell. Didn't know this.
Good for
Came
Tim.
out when he was like 25 or something.
Good for Tim.
Yeah. So strange. I saw some Reddit comments talking about it, and I thought it was like one of those bits how people always say Tony Hinchcliffe, whatever, is gay from Kill Tony.
Yeah. Fuck.
But he's not actually.
Hate that guy.
But no, Tim Dillon's apparently through and through a gay man.
That's what it is. The Kill Tony jogged it from my memory. Comedians, comics, those guys, it's a jock thing now. They all feel like jocks, and that is not what fucking comedy historically is or is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, good comedy at the very least. Like,
that's something that Tim Dillon brings up. Tim Dillon, he was talking about Brendan Schaub doing stand-up or whatever, and he was talking about exactly that. He was like, this guy is like an alpha. He's like, he could beat you up, he could take your girl, and he's doing comedy which is inherently gay. And he's like, you're just he's like why are you doing this? You're a gay man now. You are gay. And at the time I was like, oh, this is pretty funny. But now knowing that he is a gay man, I'm like, okay, yeah, I totally get the but that's the whole thing. He's like you can't get up there and then basically do, like, to put it in even more like ugga bugga caveman terms, like Brendan Schaub or Joe Rogan don't work getting up there and doing something that's traditionally kind of like nerdy and like, I was nervous earlier, like, because all their bits are like, I told this guy who said take my mask off, I'll fucking put you in a headlock, bro. Like, that's just not, you get what I'm saying? It's like, it's not the,
Yeah, because they're just it's all just so inherently fucking conservative. And it sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian De Palma directed
Brian
Mission
De Palma,
Impossible.
yeah. There are a couple of shots in here that are like very De Palma pilled. Like, I think of the shot in Blowout with the owl.
Oh, yeah.
That happens at one point where like 2 people are talking over here and then some shit's happening here, but it's clearly like like 2 frames spliced together almost.
It's called a split diopter shot, which Brian De Palma does.
Oh, of course you would know that.
Does
fucking nerd, dude. I'll put you in a headlock. Okay.
Does constantly.
Yeah, I love it.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Have you seen? Oh fuck! I have to look it up.
All right, Jamie, pull it up. All right.
Another thing about podcasts.
I will also say, humble beginnings. This is really interesting to me. Like,
oh yeah, this is really like it feels cute
slapdash.
To the last one.
Yeah, but I love it. I love it.
This guy named John DeMarcio is currently the guy filming. I think it's just for one team, but he's doing. He's the director of footage for the Mets.
Okay.
The baseball team.
It'd be so funny if it was just mad cinematic the whole time.
It is. That's the point. Like, people are like, "What? Is Brian De Palma
directing the
Mets?" And it's him. Like, he'll go on Twitter like every night and just like show a shot that he put on the baseball field, and I'm like, "Here's the Brian De Palma shot I got this from."
Nice.
Like, it's so fucking.
On a side note, really quick, I wish I was a sports guy a little bit. You've been getting into the just the NBA.
Yeah.
Have you gotten into the WNBA at all?
I've been thinking about it.
There's this one player. Her name is Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar?
Mm-hmm. She's getting her shit kicked in?
Yeah, because apparently she is like, from what I've read online, I've genuinely read people say like she is like the Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant level of a player. And basically she came in, made a huge splash, makes a bunch of money, and now everybody else, like, they're like, it's seriously out of jealousy. Like they are trying to push her down because they are pissed at how much like she just walked in and like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me. I haven't seen any clips of her, but I heard people also say like, to be fair, she's a straight up shit talker. Like if she'll go out there and she'll sink like deep threes and then talk shit about it.
Love
you know?
that.
But I've been seeing some videos of her getting her shit kicked in, and it's. But anyways, a lot of people have been saying like it is the most exciting the league has ever been.
Oh yeah.
And it will lead to everybody in the league making more money.
And also, they're all dating.
Crazy. I've heard a couple people talking about that. Who was just talking about like. Fuck. Was talking about like trying to do. Whatever. Play your little Brian De Palma Mets clip here. Okay, big shot of the moon. Turning into a baseball.
This is live.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Fucking. And just like, just shit like, For some reason, this page doesn't want to scroll. NoFilmSchool.com, get your stuff together. Also, hey, my favorite thing about going to film school, I learned a lot from teachers from NoFilmSchool.com. Professors all the time would be like, and this on NoFilmSchool.com.
Nice.
Just like, shit like this, like split diopter shots, and just, it's fucking insane. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
It's great.
So, during this whole, what, are you pausing?
We're good.
Oh, during this whole operation where they're trying to stop the guy with the knock list, shit just starts going south.
Pause. The knock list.
Yeah.
Split into 2 parts. One has aliases, one has real names.
Right.
Why do we have this list?
I figure someone's got to know, right?
Why? To put it all down in one list? If it's like, okay, here's the mission, and these are their names, and these are their code names, I can get them being separated like that, but one giant list that just...
Yeah.
What would you need that for?
So bad guys have something to steal, man.
The IRS?
You got to have a carrot on a stick.
Okay,
There's no Joker without a bat.
You're right.
But I started doing this bit. I didn't know it was going to be a full-blown whatever, because like I was like, oh, man down, Ethan, right? Then double man down, Ethan. Then woman down, Ethan. Then triple man down, Ethan. Then double woman down, Ethan.
Double woman down, Ethan. It's a good band name.
Thank you. Then there's that point where like the 2 folks get stabbed through a fence, which is funny, very funny. And he like pulls the knife out, and I was like, oh my god, they're doing like a North by Northwest. He's gonna get framed because he's got the red-handed, you know. But yeah, he then meets with his boss.
My team is dead.
Yeah. In the aquarium lounge cafe.
Also,
cool place.
Schrodinger's blow-up gum earlier. Emilio
he
Estevez.
Loves that shit.
Emilio Estevez love that he's in 9 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
And I just love him. I cannot think of a single reason on the job that they went on he would need blow-up gum, but here's exploding gum.
Yeah. So he realizes there was 2 IMF teams, whatever. Ethan Hunt already.
Did I say Schrodinger's blow-up gum? I meant Chekhov's blow-up gum.
Schrodinger's was better.
Thank you.
Double team because it was a mole hunt. they think Ethan's the person because Ethan's parents who live on a farm, Ma and Pa Ethan, have $100K in their, bank accounts. Ethan gets framed, uses the blow-up gun to blow up the fucking aquarium, and runs off.
Also, I love, it's maybe one of my favorite parts of this movie, when he's in there.
One of my favorite parts is he goes back to their headquarters that I'm sure the government knows about, but they don't swarm the headquarters.
That's a great point.
Well, I like how he smashes the light bulb.
I was going to say, he smashed up a light bulb. That's so they know they're like, oh, we don't want to step on light bulbs, so we're
scared him off.
I love him in the restaurant with that guy. Is that guy in the one we just watched? As an old man, is he? Remember in the one we just watched where he's like about to do the plane or whatever, and they're underground, and that one guy comes in and goes. The guy comes in and goes, "Okay, what's the plan here, Ethan? You gotta tell me. Yeah. Is that this guy?"
Have to look it up. Okay. Pull up Wikipedia.
I won't. I love when the two of them are in that restaurant, and he goes, "Why was there another IMF team there?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, literally everybody in this restaurant I saw yesterday." I'm like, that's so sick.
It's pretty good. The drunk Russian couple, this guy, the person on the stairs behind that person. Yeah.
This movie, just an overall thing I like about it is just, like... Does anyone fire a gun in this movie? Besides Jon Voight shooting himself in the chest, does anyone shoot a gun?
I don't think so.
Right? Like, this movie is just so, like...
I could be wrong.
Spy-y, but there's, like, no gunfights or no...
Well, to talk about the spy thing, I think there's a couple of things that I like about this over... James Bond is I like there are not, at least the James Bond we watched, I can't think of a single time where he was like clever or something. That's one of the things that I think is really funny about Archer now. Yeah. Is that he's just a fucking dumbass trying to get pussy the whole time. Yeah. And he just happens to fall ass backwards into shit, in my opinion. But at least Ethan Hunt is like, hey, all these fuckers in this restaurant, I saw them yesterday. Or like the light bulb thing. So I can hear the crunch, I guess. I don't know what he's doing. But either way, I'm just like, he's doing spy shit. Whereas, James Bond is not. He's just trying to put his dick inside of a woman. Yeah. I think
James Bond, as it goes on and they become more serious, he is less so like, ooh, he's the best
a male
spy.
Sex fantasy.
He's the male sex fantasy, and he's also just, like, the luckiest guy in the world. Yeah. And, like, that just kind of seems to be a thing. It's one of my favorite running jokes.
The ones that I've enjoyed the most are the ones where he's actually been a little clever or something has happened. But anyways, continue.
I think it ends up being, like, he gets more spy-y in the way of, like, my watch has a laser in it. Yeah. Oh, my God. Blue. Can't wait to talk about choking watch.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, the informant is talking to someone named Max, and they're doing something about...
So he goes home, he tries to go Max.com and shit? So funny.
We know about Operation Job 314.
Yeah, 316. Is it? Or is it 314? It's 314.
I think it's 14. Yeah. If you did not put together that it was Job 314, you would absolutely say Job 314. Yeah. Or 314. Yeah. You wouldn't say it so closely to the way a Bible is. Yeah. Also, Jon Voight's dumbass would not have left his hotel Bible in there with the fucking stamp on it. Yeah. Also, when he sees Jon Voight's point of view of him getting shot and looking down at the blood and stuff like that, you can basically see his fucking shoulder pointing his own gun at him and shooting him. Yeah.
I want to talk about Claire. There are some oddly sexual scenes with Claire. Which is weird.
Claire is the wife of Jon Voight?
Yeah. Yeah. Ethan does not fuck, which I appreciate. Because that's not what he's here to do.
She smooches his hand, though.
That is weird. Yeah. And also when she shows up and he's like, let me see if you got a wire and stuff. He's like almost stripping her and they're like on the bed about to almost kiss, it seems like. But it doesn't happen. And as soon as it didn't happen, I was like, oh, thank God. Because like if they did that also, then I really feel like I'd be like, dude, you guys are just doing James Bond.
I can't.
But not.
I can't remember exactly what he says, but Jon Voight says something along the lines of like, well, hey, that's my wife. Like kind of something like that. When you are your wife's senior by about 40 years, that means nothing. Yeah. You're like, hey, that's my wife. It's like, you have no respect for your
there is 19-year-old
wife, dude. What are you doing?
He says something when they meet at that restaurant.
Okay.
Jon Voight and Ethan. And I love how Ethan is like listens to what he says, and you get to see in his
head
head that
it's
he knows.
So good.
It's so good.
At first, I was confused. I was just like, "Are they showing us what happened, or is he
That's
putting
what
it
Will
together?"
said.
It's like, oh, no,
Will was like, "Oh, they're showing us what happened." I was like, "No, I think what they're showing us is that Ethan already knows, but he's not going to play his hand yet."
Yeah, it's so good.
So good, genius.
It's like in the new one where like it's kind of like in the new one where they're like they show things that are going to happen and they shoot new footage for it. It's just,
basically what happens. I'm assuming you're listening to this because you've seen it before, but the mole that they were trying to find out was actually John Voight, the leader of the Thing, who faked his death or whatever, and he's basically explaining how each member got killed by whoever he's saying was the mole, but you get to see Ethan's understanding that actually it was John Voight the whole time, and John Voight's wife helping. But one thing that I almost doubled over laughing about was this like 90-year-old man who's telling this story. At a certain point, he's like, I feel bad for my wife. I don't know how she'll ever get over me. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm curious how this 22-year-old woman will ever forget your 88-year-old ass. For sure.
Yeah, I can't bear the thought of my wife having to live without me.
Yeah.
That was going to happen in 4 years anyway, man.
So that was crazy. So they decided to get together a crack team. Go, you have something to say?
That's all I was just going to
Crack, what do they call it? A crack team?
Crack team, yeah.
Crackerjack team?
A Crackerjack team.
Of Crackerjacks. And
baseball.
Luther, Marcellus Wallace, we know him.
Love him.
Yeah,
and
love him.
Our boy Leon.
Leon the Professional. I was like, holy shit, it's Leon.
It's the only 2 movies I think he's ever been
in. Later on, again, he's fucking, when they're doing the lowering down scene, which we've seen.
Yes.
And he like starts like slipping us. I was like, oh, not very professional, Mr. Leon.
But anyways, I love that a rat is what gets him.
Yeah, he looks like a rat.
I like when it goes back up and you see the rat is dead behind him, but he hasn't moved at all.
Yeah.
It's like,
did he bite him?
Did he bite the rat?
I wrote down Ratatouille because the rat kind of fucks it up. Serious tension though. I like this whole thing.
Best scene in the movie.
Yeah,
I love that it's dead quiet the entire time.
Which you know what? It reminds me of your analogy last time where it's like that whole thing. I came.
Yeah.
Didn't need the whole CGI helicopter in the back of the train.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Because that was something, I was watching with the Will and Will was like, I didn't really appreciate the CGI fest. And I was like, yes, for sure, but I got what I needed already.
I got my rocks off earlier. It's
exactly.
Fine. Yeah.
I was just looking down at the film like, this is nice. I appreciate it, but I'm good. You put in enough work. Hit the bench, buddy.
That scene's so good.
So good.
I love her pen with the poison in it. I don't know why that made me laugh.
Super funny. It's like magic shop type shit.
It's just, this whole scene is like I said, it's dead quiet.
Yeah.
You know,
dead
there's
quiet.
some inherent tension to it, and it goes on
forever.
Fucking too long.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it work, is because objectively, when you think about it, it's like, all right, he lowers, bop, 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 he's back up. It should take no time at all.
Yeah.
But the fact that it takes a full calendar week is like, just makes it just gripping. And also,
he's got to download the list. There's like pressure sensitive floor stuff. The room's
can't even sweat on it. Yeah. I love
man's in the bathroom dookie or whatever, or throwing up. Sorry, they don't do toilet humor, but
I love. I realized later that the glasses have a camera in them, so Luther can see what he's doing.
Yeah,
I didn't pick that up at first, but I just really loved the idea of him just being like, and you know what? For this scene, let's put some sexy little glasses on him. But it does also look really good, like when the sweat's rolling down his glasses, and then like, another sweat's rolling down his glasses. It's all just so good. That room looks so good, especially when the floor changes from white to black.
Yeah, it's good.
Also, why are they sending what's his face to Alaska? This is your guys' fault. The guy that was dookie.
Someone's got to take the fall.
Okay, I would say the person taking the fall is the person who let 4 strange firefighters who shut up before a fire started in.
But after they have the knock list, then they arrange to meet Max on the train. There's a cool thing where Luther's trying to like jam her signal so she can't upload the knock list or whatever. Meanwhile, Ethan is trying to escape the IMF. Meanwhile, he bumps into Jim because man up, Ethan. Man up.
He pulls off rubber mask.
He does. Yep. Turns out it's him. It was Ethan in a John Voight mask.
I love that just, I don't know if that comes from the show or not.
Yeah.
But just somebody else mask that comes on and off.
You know,
it's so
you
good.
ever seen Master of Disguise?
Of course I've seen Master of Disguise.
Yeah. That's what it reminds me of.
I love it. I'm really fuzzy at the end of this.
Jim does not shoot Ethan, although he easily could. Instead, he shoots his 22-year-old wife.
Okay.
And then runs away.
Okay.
It turns into a whole thing where, like, he's trying to escape out the top of the train. Ethan is chasing him. Leon the professional drives the helicopter into the tunnel. John Voight is, like, hooked. He's trying to get unhooked so that he can grab onto the helicopter. So is Ethan. And then Ethan goes red and green. Boom! And blows up the helicopter with the gum again. And then the end, I'm pretty fuzzy on, I think. It ends with, like, Ethan, like, retiring. He's, like, sitting at a cafe with Luther.
Yes.
And he's like, how's it feel to be a citizen again? He's like, feels pretty good, Ethan. He's like, I'll always think he is disavowed or whatever. And he's like, ha ha, see you around, Ethan.
Love Luther. God, I love
Luther, yeah.
Love my man so much. It's not that important of a scene, but we skip past it, and so I'd like to go back for a minute.
Sure.
When Leon the professional goes, hey, I got a disc. You got to take me to the meeting. He's like, oh, you mean a disc?
Yeah.
And he's like doing the sleight of hand stuff or whatever. And then when he throws away the bad one and then leaves, I was like, God, it'd be so funny if he just went there and went, this was the right disc. And in 10 minutes,
he does. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's real good. Super cool scene. So I think all in all, I mean, probably going to give it an... I get what?
Oh, go on.
I was going to say, I get that you have to have a climactic ending, and it was pretty climactic. I was a little disappointed with how CGI it is, because, like, I always think of these movies as, like, maybe it's later they establish the whole, like, it's Tom Cruise doing crazy shit for real.
Yes.
I think we give it, like, an A-.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a B+.
Great. I loved it.
You know, Emilio Estevez is uncredited in this movie?
Interesting.
Also, I love that scene at the beginning where he's like telling them the situation, the knock list, and everybody will die if you don't do this, and yada yada. Any questions? Yeah, can we get an espresso maker in here? I love how quickly and immediately makes you like that team and shows how good friends they all are. Like, it's just the easiest I've ever seen a movie do it.
Yeah,
and I just loved it. Loved it.
Another thing I love is in the beginning, just great little spy stuff where he's on the plane, John Voight is, and she's like, would you like to watch a movie? And he's like, no. And she's like, perhaps something from the Caribbean? And he's like, you go ahead and pick. And then it turns out to be the,
Mm-hmm. Is there a part in this movie where he watches something that says this will self-destruct and it explodes?
No, it just goes, psst.
Because for some reason, I remember Tom Cruise in a little wife beater watching something on TV that says something and then it explodes and he jumps out of a window. But I could be thinking of another movie.
Could be the next one, which I'm ready for. Also,
been a little rough, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's good, though.
Trying to say off them, I was going to say inhalants. What's the word I'm looking for? Uppers, I guess. Just natural uppers, like coffee and...
Yeah. It's interesting. When I've stopped, currently I'm on tea again instead of, like, coffee and stuff. There's also a period of, like, a couple weeks where, like, I feel tired, but in a way where, like, the best way I can describe it is that it feels like I also feel relaxed.
Uh-huh.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm exhausted but relaxed for the first time. Like, it's almost like the exhaustion comes from, like, it almost feels like I was, like, real tense and I just, like, went, oof.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
So it's like it's like the best. It's like not a bad tired is all I'm trying to say. Like, I remember when I was kind of coming off, I was talking to my fiance, and I was like, yeah, I feel tired, but, like, not in a bad way. Like, so. Anyways, Brian De Palma's Blowout.
Brian De Palma's Blowout.
This is like the third time I've seen this, John.
1981, directed by De Palma, written by De Palma, shot by Vilmos Zsigmond.
Did a great job. I noticed that when I was watching. I saw director or photographer or whatever, and I was like, yeah, that guy deserves a...
It's my highest praise for this movie. This is one of the best looking movies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
except
for sure.
Except for maybe the green screen fireworks at the end, but besides that.
Yeah.
Chris, in 1981, how does a green screen work?
Do you think they did that thing where it's like, oh, we, like, cut it, like a two different frame kind of thing?
Do you think they, like, physically cut it out?
I don't know how you do that. I don't know.
That's what I'm asking, because I know nowadays, green screen... You film someone in front of a green screen, you pop up in Premiere and go, hey, get rid of the green, and it goes, got rid of the green for you.
Well, like a double exposure thing is what I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
Where you, like, expose for him, and then you somehow don't get the back, and then you shoot it
Here's what I'm thinking.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Some kind of maybe chemical that you dip the film in that just gets rid of green. Is that a thing?
Oh.
I don't know.
But yeah, like I said, I've seen this like 3 times. I would agree that it's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. This is one that comes to mind. Like, I don't have a running list, but like Night of the Hunter is another movie I think about often when I think of like some of the best movies I've ever seen in terms of like looks. Spoilers ahead. This is an A+ for me. It's I love this film. You know. One of the big inspirations was I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I'm gonna bring it up again. It's like, I'm not gonna say the fucking thing right, but it's like the Chappadowick incident or something like that, which was a whole thing where let me a little
while you're doing that, I gotta remember to cancel my MGM Plus free trial that I used to watch this.
Yeah, it's a CHAPPAQUIDDICK incident, the Chappadowick, I think it is. Chappadowick incident happened in 1969, right?
Right.
When Mary Jo Kopechne died inside the car driven by United States Senator Ted Kennedy after he accidentally drove off a narrow bridge, causing it to overturn into a pond. I've talked about it on the podcast before. This was a whole thing where basically Ted Kennedy and this woman left a party at like 11:15 p.m. and the crash happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then what people assume is like a cover-up and stuff like that, he didn't report it until the next morning. And he also did not end up getting in trouble for whatever. I can't get into the whole details, but basically he got off because he's a Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what inspired this movie to some degree. It ruined his career. I mean, he went on to continue having a political career, but he was poised to be a presidential candidate even. Folks were super in support of him doing this. Like running for, president. Right here it says, the Chappadowick incident became a national news item and influenced Kennedy's decision to not run for president in 72 or 76. And it is said to have undermined his chances of ever becoming president. Kennedy ultimately decided to enter the 1980 primaries, but earned only 37% of the vote, losing to Jimmy Carter. But anyways, yeah, I think either 72 or 76, whichever one. It was probably 76, but basically, like, he was thinking about it. And then one of the big news stations sat him down for like an hour-long interview where they just fucking grilled him on it. And like was just like, dude, what's up with that woman you murdered, basically, So you can see the parallels. A car falling into the lake, woman, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, and there you go, Chappadowick incident. It's very fascinating. It's just one of those things where, people talk about that all the time, like, they get away with stuff, and blah, 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 blah. And there's an example of, like, Ted Kennedy got a suspended 2-month jail sentence for, basically costing a woman her life because he's a Kennedy, because he's a U.S. Senator and a Kennedy. Anyways, blah.
But if you could think about it the other way, where Ted Kennedy had died and that woman didn't.
Yeah. You think she would have got...
gives a shit, John Travolta? Why are you doing any of this? That was my big question to this whole movie.
Yeah.
Him just being like, well, then who knows what they could get away with later?
Yeah.
What do you mean I don't know. They could kill someone else.
Yeah.
John Travolta, who gives a shit? How does this deal with you at all? And I know later they kind of get into him in The Wire and the guy getting burned or whatever, but also at the same time, I was just like, dude, why are you ever... Nobody seems to give half of a shit about this. I don't...
Yeah.
But also, at the same time, I'm like, yeah, John, go get him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing, like, roles... Okay, let me pitch you this. You're John Travolta.
I wish.
Okay?
Such a handsome guy.
And it's 2016, and they assassinate Hillary Clinton right before the election, and you're the only person who realizes they assassinated him or whatever. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you don't. I probably wouldn't. Not gonna lie, I'm not a hero. But, I mean, you got it on tape. I mean, do you try to? Or what? You just try to figure, like, they'll probably kill me too.
Maybe it's because it's the 80s and people, like, believed in politicians more and shit like that. Yeah. But, like, I mean, I feel like if I knew and I was the only person who had it on film or whatever, I'd be like, one, I might die if I let people know that I know this. Also, at the same time, what am I?
Yeah. I think it works
great. Am I
great.
getting justice for Hillary Clinton? I don't think so.
Yeah. It works great as a story. It reminds me of like the Snowden thing.
Yeah.
You know? Which me personally, I think Snowden did the right thing. I don't see him as a fucking treasonous,
brave take?
Whatever.
What's that? It's a brave take, but agreed.
But, you know, it's just one of the reality of the situation is what you're saying for sure, where it's just like, it reminds me of the X-Files. Like, the X-Files works as a show, but in real life, like, playing a dangerous game, Fox and Mulder. A really dangerous game. You versus the entire U.S. government. You know, the in-universe explanation for why they don't just kill him is because they are more afraid of Fox Mulder as a martyr than as an alive person. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're like, we can easily stop him as an alive person, but enough people follow what he's doing because he, like, submits to magazines, writing about this kind of stuff and whatnot, that, like, if we were to kill him, people would know. They would know, and it would start a wildfire, basically. But anyways, yes.
But, like, just from the jump, when he's in the hospital and that one cop is talking to him, and be like, listen, can you just shut up about the lady being in the car? We don't want to have to tell his wife that he had a woman in the car with him. He's like, well, hey, come on, there's a lady in the car. It's like, John Travolta, who are you to any of this?
Yeah.
Who? It's like, who are you going to tell? Yeah. John? You tell people at the movie studio? And two, who's going to believe you, John?
Yeah. But makes him the ultimate underdog.
It does. It
you really root for him. But basically, you start off really cool cold open. They do a bait and switch.
I've never been more baited and more switched.
Yeah.
Chris, this movie started, and when it was just like, there's that like kind of like shrieking happening in the background.
Yeah.
Those people go into the building with the red light, and then that cop comes around, and then that cop gets stabbed. Yeah. That's 90 seconds. I wrote it down in my notes. This is the most intriguing 90 seconds of a movie I've ever seen. Chris, I sat on the edge of my seat. I was like, I'm really into this movie. And then the guy goes into the bathroom, and then they get me. I was like, oh, they got me. God damn it.
Yeah.
But I love the beginning of this. It's really, really good.
Yeah. He's a sound guy. He makes sound for horror movies. And I love that the inciting incident that gets him in the right place is that the guy's like, that wind, it's canned. I've heard it 100 times. Get new wind. Yes. So he goes out in the middle of the night to get new wind. And I love how this is shot. It's so dramatic and stuff. He's standing on the bridge, and he's like just recording, and then he hears like an owl, so he points towards the owl, and he hears the frog, so he points towards the frog. And then you hear the screech of tires, you hear a gunshot, and the fucking, wheel blow up, and it smashes into the ground. And you can see John Lithgow under the bridge, like, run off.
Yes.
And, or not John Lithgow, maybe it's the guy who's recording the video. I don't know which it is. It's one of the two guys, but I think it's the video guy. But anyways.
It's the video guy. John Lithgow would have been shooting the gun.
Yeah. And basically John Travolta jumps in, tries to... I love the way the underwater stuff looks. It's very blue when it's John Travolta, but when you're inside, it's kind of very red, and he smashes the window and saves the girl. And, they go to the hospital, and basically, he's just like... what were you doing out there? He's like, I'm a sound guy. I was recording sound. And he's like, so you heard the wheel explode? And he's like, no, I heard a gunshot. Then I heard the wheel explode. He's like, you heard an echo. He's like, no, I'm a sound guy. I know what an echo sounds like. I heard a gunshot. And then I heard and then he's like, so what were you doing in the water or whatever? He's like, couldn't save the senator? He's like, no, I saved the girl. And they're like, what girl? He's like, the girl I pulled out of the water. What do you think? I was just going for a night swim? Like, I saved a girl, And then the guy comes in that's just like, this is embarrassing for his wife. Maybe just drop it. He's like, what? There's a woman. You can't just make a woman disappear.
That cop that's interviewing him that he talks to again later.
Yeah.
Everybody in this movie doesn't believe a word that anybody else is saying at all.
Everybody's very suspicious at those times. Those are suspicious times.
He's the absolute worst, and I love him and I hate him. Like at the beginning, he's like, are you sure? You saw a woman? What, she was in the car?
Yeah.
Are you sure? What do you mean, are you sure? But then later when he's just like, oh, this conspiracy mumbo jumbo, yada yada. He's like, okay, fine. He goes, no, I'm still gonna do my job. Leave the evidence. I'm gonna look at it.
I love when he shows up later. He's like, hey, fuck you. And he's like, hey, fuck you. And he's like, no, fuck you. There's just a lot of great. I'm gonna do my fucking job. It's very 70s gritty. Even though it's 81, it still has like a 70s crime.
There is
thing to it.
A high chance. I've talked about it on this very show before. Chris, I do not understand an underwater car. Like the physics of being stuck in a car underwater.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, all I can think is roll down the window and then swim out of the window.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, I think, right?
Why is no one ever doing it?
I don't know.
It's like water like rushing into the windows, But like once the car's full of water, it's full of water. Is the car coming down, creating like a suction of water rushing into the windows? I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm trying to look up Blowout really quick. Not because I'm curious about what you're talking about. I am interested.
Oh, sorry.
But I was just letting you know why I'm looking at my phone. I'm not looking at my phone to not listen.
And then...
All right, let me see.
I love when he goes to see her in the bed.
Yes.
And she puts her hand over her face and goes, I'm not wearing any makeup. And then she takes her hand off.
And she's clearly wearing makeup.
And she has the most makeup I've ever seen on a human being.
Yeah.
Also, Nancy Allen, this actress.
Yeah.
RoboCop's friend. That's where I know her from mainly. I like her in everything I've seen her in. I think she's bad in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't like her in this movie. I don't know what it is, but I guess it's just the ditzy woman she's playing.
Yeah, she's ditzy escort.
Doesn't fit Nancy Allen. Like I just don't think. I don't think she does a great job. Like I think Nancy Allen's a really good actor, but I hate saying this about an actor, but I don't think she's good in this.
Yeah,
I'm just confused by her the entire time. I was like, I don't know.
I think of her character as just kind of a dumb lady. Yeah, ditzy's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
it's never clocked me as being something I don't necessarily like, but I hear you.
It's just every time she talks, I'm like, I can't put my finger on it, but you're just off-putting to me.
I want to talk about John Lithgow a little bit.
Love to talk about John Lithgow a lot, yeah.
Great. Super unsettling.
Yeah.
Fucking such a sinister character.
Yeah, for like, especially just whenever he's talking to his boss on the phone, he's just like, we told you not to do any of that stuff. He's going straight
rogue, yeah.
And he's like, I know I wasn't supposed to. I went out of the parameters of my authority on this one, but I think I made the right call here, boss. I'm going to keep killing these sex workers.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a whole thing where he's trying to, like, set it up so that when he does finally kill the escort from the thing, there's already been a string of murders happened that look like her, so that there's, like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's also, like, in the process of, like, one of the things that John Travolta talks about is... like, check the fucking tire. There's a bullet hole, I promise you. But nah. John Lithgow snuck in there in the middle. I love when he rolls the tire in just to see if anyone will say anything.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what the fuck? It's a nice, like, spy-ish thing where it's like, okay, I'll roll the tire in. If anybody says anything, that means they're in there. If not, perfect.
And I love it. Just looks so clean when he's doing it. When he's taking the tire off the other car, he takes his tire.
And I love when he goes, like, he puts his finger in the bullet hole.
He goes, yep, that's where I went.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's running around doing a cleanup job and making more messes.
Can I talk about the TV at the beginning real quick?
Yeah.
When the TV's playing, it's talking about the mayor and the Liberty Fest.
Yeah, there's a split shot with the sound stuff.
I love that the split shot starts with him watching the TV and then getting up and walking in the background, and then the right side of the screen stays, so it's then split throughout the rest of it. But I like how it's just naturally split beforehand.
Yeah.
I loved. They're talking about the mayor and stuff like that, and he's editing sounds that say broken glass, falling body. Gunshot. I was like, oh, someone's gonna shoot the mayor. Yeah, I love. That's good. Chris, this movie is so good. It's such a good movie.
Yeah,
like anything that you can do to be like, okay,
this is a thriller. I was thrilled.
It's a thriller, but it's also, I mean, it's just they don't make them like they used to anymore. But this movie is so at every turn, I feel like this movie is going, okay, how can we convey information to you that only a movie, in a way that only a movie can.
Yeah,
and it's great. I just fucking love it. This movie is so good.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah. It's definitely fully utilizing the medium for sure.
But also, I was thinking about it. They do make up for it by the end. But like when he's doing the audio and he gets the gunshot and the blowout and the whatever.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it while he did it. I was like, well, that's just a bunch of gobbledygook.
Yeah.
You can't take that to a cop and go listen to this. It's like, this means nothing. And then when he lines it up with the footage later,
he cuts out from the newspaper like the stills so that he can make his own little movie, and he can see the little smoke of a gunshot.
I love that.
Yeah. He splices them together to make a crude movie, syncs it with his sound. Because there's that guy who is basically, you find out later, his name's Manny. He was working with the escort to basically like blackmail senators and stuff, and I guess John Lithgow was not necessarily... no, it doesn't matter. I guess he was just trying to kill him. But either way, obviously John Lithgow wasn't expecting fucking John Travolta to save the escort. Otherwise, it would have just went off without a hitch. But basically they they get footage of senators messing around with young girls and then blackmail them to make some money. So then Sally John spends a lot of time yelling at Sally.
Yeah, he does.
Just being like, God damn it, Sally, don't you understand? If they can make him disappear, they can make anybody disappear. They're gonna fucking kill you. They're gonna fucking kill me. We gotta fucking, And she's like, I don't know, Jack. I don't know. Oh, no, I don't know. And he's just like, God damn it. A lot of this movie is just him yelling at this woman.
I know, and I think...
It's good because he's putting together... It's a great performance. It's probably the best acting I've ever seen John Travolta do. I can't think of a better role.
Yeah. Did you say that? Yeah. I think the most believable part of this movie is at every turn, she is trying to get out of here so hard because she knows it's not going to be good for her.
Yeah.
And she's getting paid to leave. And she doesn't want to tell John Travolta anything.
Yeah.
But every time John Travolta goes, come on, stay. For me, I feel like I could really figure this out with your help.
Yeah.
And he looks at her, and you can just see in her eyes, she's just like, man, John Travolta's so handsome. Yeah, I'll stay with you, John Travolta. Yeah. But then also, I love next scene when he's just like, you got to tell me what happened. She goes, I don't know.
Yeah. She also murders Mandy in self-defense.
I missed that.
He tries to come on to her, and she's like, come on, sugar, come on. She's like,
I remember that. I don't remember
he
her
smashes her over the head with a bottle, and he's fucking limp on top of her.
I don't remember that part.
And you never see him again.
I must have looked away for a minute.
Yeah. The bottle, they're drinking liquor.
Yeah.
And she smashes him in the head, yeah. Anyways, there's a bunch of, like, how could it get any worse kind of stuff where, like, he shows back up at his studio and John Lithgow's wiped everything. He has nothing left sound-wise. And then, like, the news reporter shows up and, like, is like, I believe your story and stuff like that. And then John Lithgow calls Sally pretending to be the news, like, whatever. And I love, there's so many little moments where Jack's like, whoa, hang on, whoa. Why would the news reporter have your number? He doesn't know you. And she's like, well, I don't know. He's a reporter. He probably found out. She's like, he shouldn't even know you're fucking alive.
Yeah.
And then eventually they set up a sting op, basically, where he's like, all right, I'm going to have you go meet the reporter at the, train station, which sadly gets Sally murdered by the Liberty Bell Strangler. Mm-hmm. But just before that, when he's hanging out, he's playing with his little zink.
His little murder watch?
Yeah, you love the
murder watch.
And there's the whole thing with the sailor and the escort being like, well, I got about $20 and 30 minutes. She's like, well, I think I need about $40 and 30 minutes. And he's like, well, I think they're going back and negotiating. Yeah, it's great. And then he comes immediately. He's like, oh, fuck, god damn it. And she's like, wow, some stud you are. He's like, here's $20, toots, or whatever. She's like, where's my $30?
Chris, as a member of the working class myself, I don't understand that. If I was a prostitute and that guy got done immediately, I'd be like, that's less I got.
I don't know why she's so mad. Yeah,
give me that $40, I'm out of here.
If I were her, I'd have been like, wow, rock star. And like, I'd be like, yes, awesome. And then as soon as he left, I'd be like, I just made $20 in 3 minutes. This is awesome.
If I was working at a 7-Eleven,
yeah,
and normally people came in and just kind of putzed around and then got their stuff and then left, and some guy came in, boom, got a Rebel, came out to Kyler, I wouldn't go, some guy knows what he wants, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd be like, thank you, sir, for knowing what you want and getting out.
Me personally, I like the chase that ends. I know it doesn't look that great, whatever, but like I love the fact that it's happening during the Liberty Bell celebration, and that like the end with like him holding her dead body and the spinning around while the fireworks are happening behind him looks great.
It does.
I love it.
I did make fun of it, but I do think it looks really good.
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's a much better climax than Mission Impossible's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Looks great. It's just in my opinion, I feel like it's such a great thrill ride, and that just takes you right up to like. The movie ends. I mean, does he even like leak it to the press and anybody find out, or does it just end with him losing? Like she's dead and he's back to making horror movies, right?
Well, no, he wins. He gets to scream for the movie.
Isn't that really dark? It's really super fucking dark that he uses her, and he's just sitting there torturing himself by listening to her being like, "Yeah, we can go to Coney Island together and we can watch plays."
I think
fucking dark ass.
He loses. I love the shot of him in the snow listening to it still.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, when the movie was ending, I was like, okay. And then, when he gets to he used her.
Oh, yeah, because he loses the film. John Lithgow throws it into the water. Yeah. So he's lost it. It's gone.
Yeah.
It ties up all the loose ends. Jack's audio tapes alone are ultimately deemed insufficient to prove the gunshot occurred, and the cover-up succeeds. Jack begins replaying the recording of Sally's voice, eventually becoming obsessed with it. Sometime later, when he has incorporated her death scream into Co-Ed Frenzy, Ecstasy, having found the perfect scream, Sam replays the audio, forcing Jack to cover his ears.
That is my favorite running gag.
Such a dark
every time you go back to the studio, it's him like audaciously different. Okay, switch. You pull her hair. You scream.
Yeah. And he's just like, what the fuck, Sam? I don't have time for this.
Love it.
This is a perfect movie to me. I love this.
It's great. Also, at the same time, I was like, what is John Travolta's schedule? Every time he comes into work, everyone goes, where the fuck have you been? He's like, I've been busy.
Yeah. And I think I saw it somewhere. I'm just going to read a couple of things. This is from... Over the years since its initial theatrical release, it has developed a status as a cult film and has received a home media release by the Criterion Collection.
Ooh.
Quentin Tarantino praised De Palma as the, quote, greatest director of his generation, and often cites Blowout as one of his 3 favorite films that he would take to a desert island.
Oh, good for Quinn.
This lost money. Cost $18 million to make, and it made about $14 million. And all I can say is frickin' A+, Dynamite, Awooga, Bazinga.
I'm going to switch my ratings around. I'm going to give Mission Impossible a hard A.
Hard A.
I'm going to give this an A-.
A-.
No? I'm going to give them both an A-.
Okay.
I like these movies equally.
Okay. So, Brian De Palma, consistent director is what you're saying.
Yeah, good. I think this guy knows what he's doing, and he has a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah. Best of luck to this guy. So that's that. As far as the movies go, Brian De Palma, 2 bangers, back-to-back, action-packed. What are we doing next week, sir?
You had an idea, didn't you?
For a couple of things I'm interested in doing. One of them is I'm definitely interested in Point Break. And I'm definitely interested in Mask of the Phantasm. Those are 2 things I'm very interested in.
Okay. Well, here's what my idea was. I don't think we should do it now that I'm thinking about it, but it's fun, so I'd like to throw it out to you. Not next episode after that. We are doing Superman.
And wasn't there another movie you wanted to do?
Oh,
Eddington or something?
Yeah, Ari Aster's new movie, because they both come out like on the same days.
Yeah.
You know about the Donner cut of Superman 2?
No.
They shot Superman 1978, Superman the motion picture, and Superman 2 back to back.
Okay.
And I guess the people who produced it, not the Broccoli's, the Saltzmans, I want to say, were just real dirtbags. And, like, to the point where there's I think a law or something like that in filmmaking called like the Saltzman rule or whatever, where they were filming a movie and then decided halfway through it, they're like, oh, if we just film a little bit more stuff, we can split this into 2 movies and just pay everyone for 1 movie. And so that's against the law now because of this guy. And that's what they were doing with Superman and Superman 2. They like knowingly were shooting it back to back, weren't getting along with Dick Donner while shooting the first one. 75% of Superman 2 was shot, and then they fired Dick Donner and brought on another guy to finish it. A guy who they owed money to because he was the director that they did the 2 movies thing to. And so instead of like fighting it out in court with him, they're like, we'll just pay you a bunch of money to finish Superman 2, okay? His name was Richard something. He's the guy that directed Hard Day's Night and Help, fun fact. But by law,
Sounds like a conspiracy.
He was going to come in and just finish the extra 25% of Superman 2, but by law, for him to be credited as director and not Dick Donner, he had to refilm like 50% of the movie. And so there is the original Superman 2, which is just weird and wacky, and people like it, but also it's just wacky. And then in like 2006, I think they put out the Donner cut, which is all of Dick Donner's footage. Plus, he had to use some of the new guy's stuff and like kind of cobble together a movie out of it. And apparently, it's like they both kind of start and kind of end in the same spot, but the middle of the movie really changes the whole thing contextually. And like, Marlon Brando's not in Superman 2, but he's in the Dick Donner cut and stuff like that. And like, yeah, just shit like everybody was just like, no, you fired Dick Donner and we're not finishing this fucking movie for you. So Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor is mainly in Superman 2 shot from the back, and he sounds wrong because it's a different guy's voice and stuff like that. And so I thought it'd be fun to watch both of those. But also, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't wanna.
Let's watch the Donner cut.
Let's watch Wallace and Gromit.
Let's watch the Donner Cut and Mask of the Phantasm, why don't we?
Okay, I'll do that.
Superman 2 is the one where he like gives up his powers.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen it before, so
okay.
I'm not super familiar, but I'm also not unfamiliar, So why not? Why not watch the Donner Cut?
Let's do it, baby.
So Donner Cut, S2, and Mask of the Phantasm. All right. Well, I have a family situation I got to deal with, so that is gotta be that, dude. That's gotta be that, Mr. Mattress Man. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,